Discover the incredible moment a CEO appeared on Valentine's Day to change a woman's life forever. Lily Baker stood behind the counter of the local diner, her heart racing as the clock ticked ever closer to the heart of the community celebration. The aroma of fried food and fresh coffee filled the air, but it was the excitement buzzing among the townsfolk that truly heated her spirit. Today, all eyes would be on the guest of honor, Mark Thompson, a name whispered in awe. A man who had climbed from their humble streets to the heights of Fortune 500 success. Little did Lily know, this Valentine's Day would shake the very foundations of her unyielding resolve. With her kids Ella and Max stuffed into their best clothes, Lily felt a warmth blossom in her chest. She spent days juggling 2 jobs, scrubbing floors and pouring coffee, all while teaching her children about perseverance and resilience. Yet, with each rejection for a promotion, a nagging doubt crept into her heart. Did her modest upbringing taint her chances at success? As she wiped the counter with swift movements, hope flickered like a candle in the dark corners of her mind. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted. The doors swung open, and Mark strode in, an electric presence radiating through the diner. His crisp suit stood in stark contrast to the worn booths. For a moment, time stood still. Patrons all turned as Mark flashed a confident smile. He approached the microphone, effortlessly captivating everyone with his story of grit and determination. It warmed Lily's heart to hear him recount the struggles of his childhood, much like hers. Yet, skepticism lingered. Could a wealthy CEO understand the life she lived? As the evening unfolded, tension brewed. Harold, the town leader, stepped forward, disdain etched on his face. His words sliced through the joyous atmosphere, questioning Mark's authenticity. You say you care, but how can we trust you, Thompson? Your wealth blinds you to our struggles. The crowd buzzed with mixed emotions, whispers bouncing around like fireflies in the night. Lily felt her heart pound, uncertain, yet compelled. She heard Ella's soft voice beside her. Mom, what if he can help us? But doubt pulsed in Lily's mind. Could this be just another show for the rich? Then, something incredible happened. Just as the room felt thick with unease, Lily rose from her seat. Her voice quivered, yet surged with passion. It's not about who has more money, it's about supporting each other. Silence cloaked the diner as all eyes turned to her. Tears pooled in her eyes, every struggle she faced pouring out. I work 2 jobs because I believe in hard work, but it's the community that lifts each other up that matters most. This town deserves recognition not just for success, but for kindness. Her words ignited a fire within the crowd. A wave of raw emotion spilled across faces, hearts began to mend. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just then, an unexpected announcement pierced the air. Mark, inspired by Lily's strength, extended an offer that sent shockwaves through the room. He wanted her to lead a new initiative in town, a project that aimed to uplift struggling families. The energy in the diner exploded. But as Lily stood there, heart racing, a melange of disbelief and hope surged through her. Could she grasp this chance for something greater, a moment that could change not only her life, but the entire town's future? The air hummed with possibility, and with eyes locked on her, Lily knew she had a decision to make. What would she choose? Lily's thoughts whirled in a whirlwind. Did she hear Mark right? Led an initiative? Her hands trembled slightly, a mix of exhilaration and fear dancing through her veins. Ella squeezed her hand, her wide eyes sparkling with hope. Mom, you should do it. But doubt still scratched at the edges of her heart. What if she failed? What if she let everyone down? Mark's gaze held her, intense and steady. Lily, you have the heart of a leader. You proved it tonight when you spoke up. This town needs someone like you. The excitement of the crowd echoed in Lily's ears. They believed in her. They all leaned forward, their trust palpable, as if she could practically feel their hopes lifting her up. The weight of their expectation sent a shiver down her spine. Okay, she breathed, a decisive glimmer igniting deep within her. I'll do it. A cheer erupted through the diner, laughter and applause cascading around her. In that moment, she felt a spark of strength she hadn't known was there. Perhaps she could rise to the challenge, take charge in ways she never thought possible. Mark stepped closer, a broad smile illuminating his face. Together, we'll bring resources and opportunities here. We'll connect families with services that can really make a difference. A wave of gratitude swept over her. She nodded, excitement bubbling up like warm soda. At the same time, her thoughts raced ahead. Could she really bring change? Could she inspire the town to believe in a brighter tomorrow? The diner was a sanctuary of encouragement, and she could almost hear the soft whispers of her mother encouraging her from above. As the evening pressed on, Mark shared more of his plans, outlining how they would gather resources and create programs tailored to the community's needs. Yet, in the middle of it, Lily caught a shadow crossing over his face. It was brief, a flicker that caught her attention. What lay beneath that confident exterior? Was he carrying the weight of something more? The night wore on, with laughter echoing through the diner, but Lily couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. As patrons began to filter out, she engaged in small conversations, her heart a mixture of elation and trepidation. When she finally stepped outside with Ella and Max, cold air rushed against her skin, the stars twinkling in the sky as if to cheer her on. She took a deep breath, reveling in the bright glow of elation, but also staring into the uncertainty that lay ahead. Her children, oblivious to her inner turmoil, chattered animatedly about the plans for the new initiative, visions of hope sparking from their innocent minds. But later that night, long after the kids had drifted off to sleep, Lily sat alone at the kitchen table, her eyes scanning the plans Mark had shared. Papers were strewn across the surface, detailing everything from practical outcomes to ways they could engage the community. As she picked up a piece of paper and traced the lines with her fingertips, her phone buzzed beside her. It was a message from Mark. Excited to work together. By the way, I'd like to meet with you one-on-one tomorrow. We can go over ideas in detail. I have a feeling this will be a game changer. Her heart raced, but so did a sudden wave of anxiety. Was she truly prepared for this? Lily sighed. Tomorrow would bring more decisions, deeper challenges. She rested her head on her hands, the shadows of the kitchen stretching long around her. Could she handle it all? Could she find her place as a leader in this town? As the weight of that question lingered in the air, an unexpected knock startled her, echoing through the quiet night. Who could it be? Was this a sign, or was it just the beginning of yet another uncertainty? Lily's heart skipped a beat at the sound of the knock. She glanced at the clock, nearly midnight. Who would be visiting at this hour? Her mind raced with the possibilities. Could it be Mark, wanting to discuss ideas immediately? Or worse, could it be someone bringing bad news? Taking a deep breath, she stood up and approached the door. Ella and Max were fast asleep, a comforting reminder of her purpose. She opened the door cautiously, peering into the dimly lit porch. Standing there, outlined by the moonlight, was a figure she hadn't expected. It was Sarah, the town's new CEO, someone whose reputation preceded her. Sarah had moved in only a short while ago and quickly made a name for herself as an advocate for economic growth. Lily, I hope I didn't wake you, Sarah said, her voice soft but assertive. I wanted to talk. Is this a bad time? No, not at all, Lily replied, a mix of surprise and curiosity bubbling within her. Come in. As Sarah stepped inside, Lily felt the weight of expectations settle over the room, almost like a thick fog. They moved to the kitchen, where the warm light made the space feel inviting. Your speech tonight moved me, Sarah began, taking a seat at the table. I believe we need more voices like yours. Your initiative could be the spark this town needs. Lily couldn't hide the vulnerability in her expression. Thank you, but I'm scared. What if I can't make a difference? Sarah leaned forward, her gaze steady. You're already making a difference just by stepping up. You have a vision, and people are drawn to that. But there are challenges ahead. You need to be prepared. Lily nodded, digesting every word. What kind of challenges? There will always be skeptics. People who doubt what you can do. And believe me, it can get lonely at the top. But you have to learn to trust your instincts, to build a team that believes in your mission. I'm here to help you navigate that. A wave of gratitude washed over Lily. I didn't realize you were following what is happening in town so closely. Sarah smiled softly. I believe in investing in community. There's real potential here, Lily. But it needs passion, commitment, and resilience qualities you've already shown. The conversation flowed as they discussed plans and possibilities, each word igniting a flicker of hope within Lily. Sarah shared her experiences, revealing the mistakes she'd made along the way and how she'd grown from them. It was a relief to hear that someone with so much ambition had also stumbled. As they spoke, Lily felt a sense of camaraderie forming. It wasn't just about the initiative anymore. This was about forging connections, sharing the burden of hope. Maybe this was what she needed, a mentor to light the way. But then Sarah pointed out something concerning. Mark is a good guy, but he can be impulsive. Make sure you're clear about your vision when you meet him tomorrow. Don't let anyone overshadow what you want to do. That moment, a statement directed at her intentions, echoed deep inside Lily. She'd always feared being overshadowed. The doubt began to creep back, heavy and unwanted. Just as Sarah was about to wrap up, a loud crash interrupted them from the living room, startling them both. Lily's heart raced, and her instinct kicked in. What was that? She whispered, immediately rising to check on the children. Was the shadow of doubt turning into real danger? As she moved swiftly, a tense feeling curled in the pit of her stomach. Tomorrow loomed heavy with promises, challenges, and now, uncertainty in her own home. What had she walked into? Would she be able to face what awaited her not just in the world outside, but within her own walls? Lily's heartbeat thundered in her ears as she tiptoed into the living room, every shadow seeming to stretch and pulse with her anxiety. The soft glow from the kitchen illuminated enough of the space to help her see, but shadows danced along the walls, whispering secrets she couldn't quite hear. Ella and Max were snug in their beds, blissfully unaware. That thought briefly calmed her, but the ominous crash rang through her like an alarm bell. She scanned the room. Was something out of place? Maybe it was just the wind, she murmured to herself, forcing a shaky laugh to break the tension. But her instincts told her otherwise. Staying quiet, she approached the source of the noise, anxiety pooling in her stomach like a stone. Another creak, and then a voice. Lily? Is that you? It was Mark. Relieved, she turned the corner to find him in the hallway, holding a figurine of a precious moment he'd accidentally knocked over. Mark, she exclaimed, the rush of relief flooding her face. You scared me. I thought something was wrong. He ran a hand through his hair, looking sheepish. Sorry, I was just trying to find a way to tell you I'm here to help. A haze of confusion swept over her. Help? At midnight. Mark shifted awkwardly, looking down. I thought maybe it was a good time to discuss our upcoming meeting. I didn't want to wait. Lily sighed. You know, we agreed that we'd keep work out of the nights for the kids' sake. This isn't how I wanted to do things. I know, but I can't shake the feeling that this idea is too important to leave to tomorrow. We need to be ahead of the game. His eyes sparkled with urgency. Taking a deep breath, she let it out slowly. I appreciate your enthusiasm, but what if someone saw you here? We're already under scrutiny, Mark. In that moment, the reality of her fears collided with his drive. She struggled inside, balancing on the edge of ambition and apprehension. Could she trust him? They had been friends, but lately, it felt like they were teetering on the precipice of something more significant. It was just a crash, right? Mark asked softly, looking around the living room. What really worries you? Something about the way he asked made her want to confide in him. I'm not sure I'm strong enough for this. What if I can't lead? What if I end up disappointing everyone, including my kids? Mark stepped closer, his expression softening. Lily, with your heart in this, you're already a leader. You just need to trust yourself. Resolute this time, she met his gaze. You mean that? Yes, he answered quietly, leaning in as if to bridge the gap between doubt and belief. Just then, they were interrupted by the sound of a small footfall. Ella appeared, rubbing her eyes and yawning. Mommy, what is going on? Lily's heart swelled. Honey, everything is okay. Just a little late-night talk. Ella squinted into the light, catching sight of Mark. She looked up at her mother, sensing something different in the air. Can I go back to bed, please? With a nod from Lily, she was gone again, the door whispering shut behind her. Mark's presence filled the space, creating a tension that was both unnerving and magnetic. So do we have a plan for tomorrow? He asked, breaking the silence. I don't want to discourage you, but we have to prepare for the town hall meeting. Sarah's not wrong about needing a clear vision. Lily hesitated, teetering between what she'd prepared to say and the running doubts that swirled like autumn leaves in the wind. Yes, we need to prepare, she murmured finally, feeling the weight of responsibility rush back like a tide. But I need to know that you're on my side. That it's together or not at all. He nodded seriously, setting the figurine back down. Together, then. Just let me know what you want me to do. I want to do well by you. Before they could delve deeper, movement outside caught her eye. A shadow flitted past the window, drawing her attention. Did you see that? She whispered suddenly, her unease creeping back. What? Mark turned, eyes wide. Lily felt a chill crawl over her skin. I think someone else. Outside. In that instant, the promise of the day ahead shattered into fragments of dread. They might be facing challenges within their own plans, but now an outside threat hung in the air like smoke. What had she walked into? What lay outside those walls that threatened the newfound spark of hope she had been building? Lily's breath hitched as she peered out the window, her heart racing. The darkness was thick, wrapping around her like an unwelcome cloak. Mark, we need to check it out, she whispered, adrenaline sharpening her senses. Mark nodded, his expression shifting from surprise to determination. Together, they moved through the living room, feet barely making a sound. Every creak of the floorboards felt amplified in the oppressive stillness of the night. She didn't want to frighten Ella or Max, but fear gnawed at her insides. Should I grab something? Mark asked, darting to the kitchen. Just, let us go. There was no time for hesitations. As they reached the front door, she clutched the doorknob, her heart thudding against her ribs. Together, they stepped outside. The cold air hit them, crisp and unsettling. She squinted into the yard where the shadows loomed, shrouding whoever might be waiting. The house creaked behind them, a reminder that their sanctuary now felt exposed. Do you see anything? Mark whispered, scanning the yard. The moonlight painted everything in a ghostly glow, and no sign of movement broke the stillness. I don't know. Lily stepped forward, her instincts driving her on. I thought I saw something by the fence. Suddenly, a rustle echoed from the nearby bushes, sending her heart into a frenzy. Mark, she gasped, grabbing his arm. He stiffened beside her, protective instinct kicking in. Then, out of the darkness, a small animal darted free, a raccoon, its eyes glinting with curiosity. Lily let out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. Just a raccoon. But what if it had been something more? Mark said, still tense. What if someone is watching us? Lily shook her head, trying to calm the unease coiling tight in her stomach. I don't know, but it's like things are just off lately. Maybe we should reconsider the meeting. It could draw more attention, and right now, we need to keep a low profile. Are you saying we step back? Her voice was strained. The idea unsettled her. They had worked too hard to retreat now. I'm saying let us be smart about this. Just then, a shattering sound echoed from across the street, cutting sharply through their conversation. Both turned sharply, their hearts racing again. What was that? Mark asked, anxiety creeping into his voice. I don't know. Panic fluttered in her chest. Please, let us go back inside. Together, they hurried back inside, their fear mingling with the retreating shadows. The door shut with a solid click behind them. Mark leaned against it, breathing heavily. We can't let fear paralyze us, he said, voice low but urgent. But we also have to be careful. We can't risk the kids. Lily nodded, her mind whirling. We need to stay aware. Make a plan. If there's something or someone out there, it could become a real threat. That's the right mindset, he agreed, but she saw the worry reflected in his eyes. Mark, she took a breath, meeting his gaze. What if this becomes more than just about leadership and meetings? What if it's about protecting our families? The weight of those words lingered in the air. They weren't just dealing with a town hall meeting anymore. They were grappling with something that felt far bigger, menacing, almost as the silence stretched, their minds racing. A faint knock came from the back door, sending shockwaves through her body. Both jumped, the fear rippling through their shared glance. Who could that be? Mark asked, tense again. Should we answer? Now, fear had turned to dread. Whoever it is, they might know what's going on. Lily felt her legs weaken. What if their worst fears were turning real? What if they're here for us? As Mark moved toward the kitchen, Lily felt the ground shift beneath her. It was a moment of truth, and the world outside was closing in. Without realizing, she reached for his hand, needing the connection more than ever. "Whatever happens, promise you'll stand by me." "Always," he said, embers of determination flickering back into his eyes. As they slowly opened the door, Lily could only imagine what awaited them on the other side, bracing herself for whatever storm might unfold. What truth lay hidden in the shadows, and would it change everything they thought they knew? The door creaked open, and the cold air that rushed in felt like an icy hand on her skin. Lily braced herself, heart pounding in her chest, but what awaited them on the other side was unexpected. Standing there, illuminated by the dim porch light, was an elderly woman. Her hair was wild and white, framing her creased face like a storm cloud. The woman clutched a faded quilt around her shoulders, and her eyes, though soft, held a glimmer of urgency that sent another wave of fear through Lily. "Please, can I come in?" the woman asked, her voice trembling, both from the chill and something deeper. Mark exchanged a wary look with Lily, then nodded, stepping aside to let her pass. The woman shuffled inside, her presence a stark contrast to the tension hanging in the air. "Who are you?" Lily asked, trying to steady her voice as much as her racing heart. "I'm Evelyn," she replied, her eyes darting around the room, as if searching for something. "I live just down the street." I wasn't sure who else to turn to. "What is going on?" Mark prompted, crossing his arms. "Are you in danger?" Her gaze fell, and the weight of her words hung heavily in the air. "It's not me, it's the town. Something's happening." The people, she sputtered, eyes wide. "They're being watched. It started weeks ago, but it's getting worse." Lily felt a chill run down her spine. "Watched? By who?" "The shadows," she replied, her voice growing hushed, eyes flicking to the door behind them, as if expecting someone or something to burst in. "I've seen them. They're everywhere, moving in the dark, listening to everything. I thought I was going crazy, but then I started seeing others, just like me. We need to unite, to protect ourselves." Mark's brow furrowed, a mix of skepticism and concern crossing his features. "You're serious? What do you expect us to do?" "We can't back down now," Lily interjected, her pulse quickening at the thought that their fears had a face, an identity even. "If what she says is true, this is exactly the threat we feared." "Look, I know it sounds wild," Evelyn continued, her voice trembling with conviction. "But I've watched people just vanish. 1 minute they're there, and the next gone. We need to gather those still willing to fight. We can't let our families be taken." Lily and Mark shared another look, the weight of their choices pressing heavily upon them. "It's a lot to take in," Mark said, breathing deeply. "But if there is truth in this, we need to take action." Lily felt a fire ignite within her. "We can't be silent anymore." The fear was transforming into determination. "We need to find the others. We can rally them, make a plan." Evelyn nodded vigorously, her face lighting up with renewed hope. "Exactly. We can gather at my place tomorrow under the old oak tree at sunset. It's secluded. We can talk plan." The urgency of the moment thrummed through Lily's veins. "Then let us do it. We have to protect our families." But just as the words left her lips, a sudden bang erupted at the front door, startling them all. Their hearts raced, fear crashing back in an instant. "Who's there?" Mark yelled, eyes darting toward the sound. A shadow loomed briefly at the doorway before disappearing into the night. They could feel the tension snap back as they all turned to one another, terror reflected in their eyes. "What was that?" Evelyn whispered, fear lacing her voice. "We need to be smart," Mark stated, moving toward the door once again. "We can't let them keep us in fear. It's time to take back what's ours," Lily breathed out, inviting the strength of her resolve to wash over her. But as she stepped closer to the door, she couldn't help but feel the shadow of uncertainty creeping back in. The path ahead was uncertain, lined with both danger and hope, and Lily knew this was only the beginning of something far more intense. What would happen at the meeting under the oak tree? Would they truly be able to confront whatever was lurking in the darkness? The door trembled on its hinges as Mark approached, each step filled with a mix of determination and dread. The chill of the air didn't just bite at their skin, it gnawed at their resolve. Lily's heart raced, and she could feel the heavy silence closing around them like a vice. "Wait," Lily exclaimed, grabbing Mark's arm just before he could reach the door. "What if it's one of them? What if they're trying to lure us out?" Mark hesitated, glancing back at her, the unease flickering in his eyes. "We can't hide forever, Lily. If someone else out there, stop. Just listen for a second. Evelyn whispered, her voice a frantic hush. We need to stay low. Let us not give away our position. The three of them huddled together, a fragile unit against an unseen threat. Each creak of the house, every whisper of wind felt amplified in this moment. Lily's breath hitched as she fought against the panic tightening in her throat. Suddenly, the banging resumed, louder this time, jarring them into action. What if it's one of the missing? Lily asked, catching a glimpse of Mark's eyes shining in the dim light, filled with concern. Or it could be a trap, Mark countered, shaking his head slightly, though she could see his resolve wavering. Evelyn, Lily begged, what do we do? You said you've seen them. Are they dangerous? Evelyn's gaze darted around the room as if the shadows themselves might come alive right before them. I've seen enough to know we can't afford to take chances. They're not from here. They thrive in fear. Just then, the door exploded open, slamming against the wall with a force that echoed like thunder. Bright light poured into the room, blinding them momentarily. As their eyes adjusted, a figure loomed in the threshold, a tall man, his face half hidden by the shadows. Help, please, he shouted, collapsing into the entryway. Fear and desperation dripped from his voice, weaving a complex web of confusion that tugged at Lily's heart. Who are you? Mark demanded, his voice firm but trembling. I'm Jacob, the man gasped, struggling to catch his breath. You have to listen, there's no time. They're coming. Lily rushed forward, kneeling beside him. What do you mean they? Who's coming? The shadows, Jacob blurted out, eyes wide with terror. They don't just watch, they're after the people who vanish. I was one of them. I barely got away. The air thickened with tension as Evelyn stepped forward, her brow furrowing. But why you? How did you escape? I found a way to see them, Jacob said, urgency lacing his voice. But I need your help to expose them before they get everyone else. Expose them? Mark echoed, skepticism creeping back into his tone. How do you even know they exist? What if this is a trick? No trick, Jacob cried, his voice almost frantic. You don't know what they can do. You have to believe me. Lily felt the fight in her heart flare back up. If we can trust him, if there's even a chance he can help us, we have to listen. Evelyn nodded slowly, a mix of understanding and fear in her eyes. Then what do we need to do? Meet me tomorrow night at the old power plant. It's where the activity is strongest. If we work together, we can take back our town, Jacob urged, pushing himself to stand, his body trembling. What if it's a trap? Mark asked, still hesitant. Then we'll be ready, Lily said, determination flooding her voice. We have to at least try. A shiver ran down her spine at the thought of facing whatever darkness lay ahead, yet she could feel a spark igniting within. If they joined forces with Jacob, the whispers of the night might finally yield answers. As the group began to process their precarious alliance, the shadows outside seemed to dance, swirling and teasing at the edges of their vision. Tomorrow night, then, Lily affirmed, her heart racing with the monumental weight of what was to come. But we must be careful. Evelyn placed a hand on Lily's shoulder, her grip reassuring. We can't let fear control us any longer. But even as hope flickered, a nagging doubt lingered at the back of Lily's mind. Was this truly the path to safety, or would they be consumed by the very shadows they sought to confront? Little did they know, the meeting under the oak tree would lead them into deeper darkness than any had ever imagined. Lily lay in her bed, staring at the ceiling, the weight of tomorrow pressing heavily on her chest. The shadows of doubt loomed larger than before, intertwining with the fear she felt for her friends and herself. Would they really be ready if Jacob's warning rang true? She tried to push the thoughts away, to find a semblance of rest, but sleep wouldn't come. Morning light filtered through the curtains, casting strips of warmth across her skin. She rose, her heart still heavy. Mark was in the kitchen, nervously sipping coffee, while Evelyn paced back and forth, the sound of her sneakers against the floor punctuating the silence. Any idea what time we should leave? Mark asked, stirring the dark liquid in his cup. Soon, Lily replied, trying to sound more confident than she felt. The sun sets early this time of year. Evelyn halted mid-step, spinning to face them. What if we're walking into a trap? What if we don't make it back? The vulnerability in her voice struck a chord. They all understood the risks, yet here they were, moments away from confronting their worst fears. We can't let fear lead us, Lily said, though her own resolve felt fragile. We can't keep living like this. We have to at least try. After breakfast, they gathered their things, each packing essentials: flashlights, small knives, water. As shadows lengthened across the foundations of their town, apprehension blended with adrenaline. They met Jacob under the old oak tree, the wind rustling its leaves like whispers of caution. Jacob arrived late, breathless, and shaky. "I wasn't sure you'd come," he said, eyes darting around as if sensing unseen dangers. "Where do we go?" Mark asked, glancing nervously at their surroundings. "Follow me," Jacob instructed, turning toward the overgrown path leading to the power plant. The air crackled with electricity, thick with tension and uncertainty. The weight of their choice pressed down, suffocating yet liberating. As they walked, shadows of the trees stretched long and thin, creating an illusion of looming figures. The quiet of the town was eerie, too calm for the chaos they felt inside. "What will we do when we get there?" Evelyn asked, her courage faltering. "Use the lights," Jacob said, grounding his shaky voice in certainty. "If we can distract them long enough, we can create an opening, maybe even help the others who've gone missing." "What if it doesn't work?" Mark's question hung in the air, a heavy stone. They all knew the answer but were too afraid to voice it. "We'll have tried," Lily whispered, though her throat tightened at the thought. The fear bubbling deep within her was suffocating, but she forced a smile. "And we'll watch each other's backs." They reached the old power plant, a relic of the past standing jagged against the dimming sky. The building loomed ahead like a shadow of its former self, every broken window and tattered wall telling tales of abandonment. "It's here," Jacob murmured, glancing over his shoulder. "This is where they gather." As they stepped inside, the air turned stale. The darkness soaked into their skin. They flicked on their flashlights, beams cutting through the gloom as they explored the space, the sound of their footsteps echoing in the emptiness. Lily felt a tugging at her instincts, the sensation that something was watching them, waiting. "Stay close," Jacob instructed, urgency in his tone. The weight of tomorrow's confrontation pushed against them, yet as they moved deeper into the plant, a strange pull beckoned Lily. She paused, sensing that something else was lurking nearby. Then, without warning, the lights flickered, a sudden darkness swallowing them whole. "What was that?" Mark's voice trembled, fear crackling in his words. Suddenly, shadows began to swirl around them, coalescing into forms that twisted with malice. Lily's heart raced as fear and bravery collided within her. The moment had arrived, and she had to push through. "Stay together," she yelled, but it barely broke through the thickening panic. Would they stand a chance against the very darkness that haunted their town? As the swirling shadows closed in, Lily understood. Defeat was the only option if they chose to flee. And in that moment, resolve ignited fiercely within her. "Fight!" she shouted, raising her light defiantly against the encroaching nightmare. But would it be enough to pierce through the depths of despair? The shadows swirled menacingly around them, a dark tide threatening to consume their resolve. Lily's heart pounded, each beat a reminder of the stakes they faced. She squeezed the flashlight tighter, the beam trembling, mirroring the fear coursing through her veins. "We can do this," she shouted, her voice breaking through the swirling darkness. Jacob stepped forward, his face illuminated with determination. "Use your lights. Aim for the center." He propelled himself into action, leading the charge as he swung his flashlight in wide arcs. The brilliant beams of light sliced through the gloom, revealing fleeting glimpses of the grotesque shapes that writhed in response. Mark and Evelyn followed suit, rallying behind Jacob. "Keep moving," Evelyn yelled, her voice stronger despite the pressure. She pressed forward, leading them deeper into the heart of the power plant where the shadows seemed to thicken and pulse with life. Each step felt like treading through quicksand, but together, they pressed on, flickers of light piercing the ominous veil surrounding them. The shadows screeched in discontent as their light buffeted against them, momentarily retreating. Lily felt something shift within her, a blend of fear and fierce courage igniting a spark. "We want to let you take us," she screamed into the darkness, the words pouring from her as if they could wash away their fears. "Lily!" Mark screamed suddenly, pointing. "Over there." He spotted something moving behind a large rusted machine. A vague figure was hunched by the wall, its outline shrouded in shadow. It looked vulnerable, yet filled with a plea for help. "Who is there?" Lily asked, heart racing faster at the possibility of finding someone lost among the darkness. The figure flinched at their lights, drawing back momentarily before shifting closer. The shadows coiled restlessly around them, whispering threats that pricked at their resolve. But they forged ahead, desperate. Lily felt a pull toward the figure, a thread of connection forming among the chaos. As they approached, the features of the figure began to materialize. "What happened to you?" Jacob's voice wavered, the humanity fighting against the anxiety in the air. The figure straightened, revealing a shocked and haggard face Lily recognized. "Amelia?" she gasped. It was one of the missing friends, her eyes wide, reflecting the fear they had all felt 1,000 times since their neighbors had begun disappearing. "I didn't think anyone would come. I thought I was." Amelia started, her words breaking as shadows flared around her. "No, we'll get you out," Mark yelled, his courage fueling their collective energy. "But we need to keep moving." The shadows hissed louder, swirling aggressively, closing in on them. They were beings of despair, and they thrived on fear. "Don't look back," Lily shouted. "Let us go." Now, guided by the light, they turned and sprinted down the hall, shouting encouragement to Amelia. "You've got this. Just stay with us." They could feel the gnarled fingers of the darkness reaching for them, but the adrenaline made them faster, fiercer as they raced toward the door. A deafening roar erupted from the masses of shadow. It felt like a storm unleashed, full of rage and defeat as they surged forward, desperate to reclaim their territory. Lily could see the exit now, a sliver of light promising safety. She couldn't allow her heart to falter. They wouldn't lose anyone else today. "Almost there," Jacob called out, and his voice cut through the chaos like their flashlights slicing through the shadows. But just as they were about to reach the doorway, a massive form loomed out from the edge of the darkness, blocking their escape. "Lily!" Amelia screamed, stumbling back as tendrils of shadow lunged for her. It stopped time, a whirlwind of emotion crashing inside her. How could they fight that? How could they save Amelia? "Lily now?" Mark shouted, his urgency unyielding. Torn between hope and dread, she stepped forward, rallying every ounce of courage. But this time, it wasn't just fear fueling her heart, it was a fierce love for her friends, the bond they shared lighting the path ahead. "Together," she cried, ready to face the darkness one last time. What would happen if they combined their strength? Would it be enough to break the cycle? As the shadows loomed, Lily took a deep breath, stepping into the unknown. In that moment, she realized that the heart was stronger than fear, and together, they could pierce through the deepest darkness. But would they be able to fight back against the creature that waited, poised to strike? The air pulsed with tension as Lily took that leap into the unknown, realizing that this was the moment they would either conquer the shadows or be consumed by them. She felt the heat of her friends beside her, a wall of strength. The shadows writhed, coiling and twisting like serpents, each dark tendril seeking to snuff out the light they held. But together, they were a force of hope. "Now!" she yelled, as their lights converged, slicing through the swirling darkness in a brilliant array. The beams crisscrossed, forming a shimmering net of defiance. The shadows recoiled, hissing and writhing, but the darkness couldn't withstand their unity. With every ounce of strength they had, they moved forward, unwilling to let their fear win. "Keep pushing," Mark shouted, his voice carrying the weight of their combined resolve. Each pulse of light urged them on, igniting a fire deep within. They surged ahead, determination igniting every fiber of their beings. Amelia, filled with newfound hope, joined the charge. "I can help," she cried, her voice stronger than before, brimming with the knowledge that they were going to reclaim their town. The shadows shrieked in fury, desperate to reclaim their grip, but with each step forward, the friends pushed deeper into the light, their unity shining like a beacon in the darkness. Then, they reached the large doorway, where a fragile barrier of light shimmered on the other side, whispers of safety brushing across their skin. But the shadows, collapsing in on themselves, surged forward with one last-ditch effort. A massive tendril lunged for Amelia, and without thinking, Lily reached out. "No," she shouted, thrusting her light directly at the advancing darkness. In that moment of terror, she felt the bond of friendship strengthen, transforming fear into action. Mark joined her effort, his light pooling with hers, relentless and bright. Jacob and Evelyn fell in step, amplifying the radiant energy they unleashed. One by one, their lights combined, cascading into an explosion of brilliance that struck against the shadows. With a resonating roar that seemed to shake the foundations of the power plant, the shadows retreated. They dissolved like mist in the morning sun, disintegrating as the light grew bolder, scattering their tendrils until there was nothing left. The silence that felt surreal, a palpable sense of triumph washing over them. Lily stood panting, heart racing with exhilaration and disbelief. They had done it. She looked around at Amelia, Mark, Jacob, and Evelyn, each one breathing heavily but alive. They had faced the darkness, and together, they emerged victorious. As they stepped into the light, an overwhelming wave of relief coursed through her. The power plant, once a harbinger of fear, felt transformed, their victory breathing life back into its walls. "We did it," Amelia shouted, tears of joy shimmering in her eyes. "We really did it." Lily's heart swelled at that moment, wrapping her in warmth. "Together," she said softly, the word almost a prayer. They were more than a group. They were family, united against the odds. They had faced darkness and helped bring back the light. But victory wasn't just about chasing shadows away. It was about reshaping their community and creating a future of hope and resilience for families like hers. Lily knew they still had work ahead, the journey only beginning. But the fears that had held her captive were no longer shackles, just fading memories. "We need to tell the others," Mark said, gripping her hand tightly. "They need to know they're not alone." "Yes," Lily agreed. She felt the fire in her heart ignite anew. Their town was on the cusp of revival, rebirth, the celebration of community spirit. It was time to rally the people, to reach out, to connect, and build a brighter future together. Underneath the oak tree, the glow of dusk would see them gathered, their hearts radiant, ready to face tomorrow united. The next chapter of their lives beckoned, filled with renewed purpose, camaraderie, and the unwavering belief that, no matter the darkness faced, love and friendship would always lead them back into the light. As that realization settled in, Lily's smile shone brightly, igniting hope not just within her, but throughout the town. Now it's your turn to light up the channels. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support because you know it makes a difference. Comment below and tell us your feelings about this powerful ending and how you would stand against the shadows. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share, because together we can inspire even more light.